right, before we do those adjustments, let's come back here to this light wrap real quick because I'm just noticing something. Let's take a mask because the edge over here looks funny. Hit MMM, and then what we'll do is feather this out and maybe just adjust this like this. And just add some feathering to where maybe it just pops on just a little bit. So we're just kind of knocking it down just a little bit and kind of feathering it so it's not a hard edge when it comes back, because it looks nice over here. Doesn't look so hot over there. And we still have just a little bit of haloing, but that looks better. All right, let's do some adjustment layers here. All right, let's throw a tint and a curves on here. Let's turn the tint off for now. Let's give this whole scene just a little bit more juice. And maybe give the whole thing just a tiny bit of, just like we did in the other one, just a little bit of blues in the shadows here. Just a hair. And then maybe a little bit of a bump in the red highlights, just a hair. And then we have a bunch of different options for noise and grain. Let's do another adjustment layer. We'll name this one color 1, and this one grain. And we'll throw it on here. That way it'll be a little bit easier to keep track of. Now, this is a really nice grain plugin. I think it's pretty fantastic. It does take forever to render frames though. You can do a little adjustment here. Okay, that's usually what I do is turn the size down just a little bit, turn the intensity down because that's a little bit strong. Maybe leave this size at 1. Yeah, it's about right. And turn the intensity down to 0.35. Cool. Looks pretty good. And now a couple other tweaks that we could do here. We can go back into our original source footage right here. And we can add just a hair of sharpening using an unsharp mask filter. Come in here and set this to like 80 and then 1 and then make the tolerance 1. Actually, we can set this to maybe 0.9. Maybe a little bit strong. Let's try like 70. And this kind of gives you a little bit of micro contrast. And then we'll check the keyed footage to make sure that it's not going to jack us up here at all. Now we can take our source footage, come over here, lock this panel, and then okay, so that's not really going to affect us at all. We're looking at the keyed footage comp, but we are adjusting the effect control for our source footage because we locked this right there. So it does look pretty good on. And here is our final corrected image. Not too bad. I mean, there are some problems, but again, we're dealing with the limitations of a somewhat highly compressed camera that's throwing away nearly all of the color information through first the Bayer filter pattern, then the chroma subsampling, and then it's being compressed on top of that. But I think this looks pretty good. Now, the other way that you can do this, if you have Magic Bullet Looks or some other plugins, is to use Color Ista, which is another plugin that I really, really like. Drag that on here, and then we can do a similar thing. Maybe give it a little bit of density, 0.25, a little bit of exposure. Pull our shadows down to blue just a little bit. Maybe warm up the mids a hair. Warm up the highlights just a hair. Maybe give it just a bump of saturation. And then pull down the shadows just a hair. And then we can add a looks on top of this. We'll go in here, and then we'll add film grain. Now, the reason why I do this in looks is because it renders faster. I like the way the stock After Effects grain looks much better. It renders way too slow for most things. So this is at 100%. We'll take a little snapshot and then turn this off, turn these other ones on. So we have two kind of similar grain type compositing techniques in there, but two different coloring motifs going on. They both look pretty good, I think.